Today on the channel, it's back to the best of the best. And in today's video, we got something a little bit different as we're counting down my top 5 action figure vehicles of 2023.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Best of the Best 2023 video. In today's video, we're talking about action figure vehicles, and this was a banner year 2023, as we got a lot of vehicles. Super 7 giving us stuff, all kinds of party wagons, turtle vans this year, Batmobiles from the Kenner Superpowers to the McFarlane, all things in between. We got the Hiss Tank, of course. A lot of stuff going on in the vehicle department this year. Fortnite boat, that was probably last year though. But a lot of good vehicles. And are we ushering in a return to form? Of course, in the action figure landscape in the 80s, there was, of course, action figures, but there was a lot of vehicles, there was a lot of play sets, and as times went by, they've been few and far between. However, we're getting a little bit of a renaissance here in 2023, at least in the vehicle department. Will that continue into 2024? I guess we'll just have to stay tuned and see how that does net out. But of course, in this vehicle countdown, we're going to start at number 5, work our way to number 1. Of course, any action figure vehicle counts in here, so put your list together and make sure you put it in the comments down below. Start at number 5, work your way to number 1. And remember, this is my list. Put your list in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's kick it off at number 5. We begin the countdown at number 5, and number 5 a bit controversial, at least from where I sit, and as you guys know, right here at this very table. But the number 5 selection comes to me from DC McFarlane Multiverse. It is the Batman, the 89 Batman Batmobile, of course, from the Flash movie. Now, a very, very good representation of this. However, a little controversial, like I said, as this was shortly re-released with a little different color scheme. Not a big fan of that one there, because I would have rather had that one originally, but I said, you know what? Todd on the couch, I'm not giving you any more money. I'm going to stick with this one. It's the way it is. It's the way it was meant to be. I'm sticking with this one as my Batmobile, and I'm not even super fond of the 89 Batman movie. It's not my favorite Batman. It didn't change my life when I was a little kid in elementary school. It did a lot of people, just didn't for me, but it is iconic. It is very cool. I did have it as a little kid as well, so it hits a lot of the nostalgia feels, of course, but it isn't the greatest thing since sliced bread, no pun intended, but still very cool, especially for Batman fans. So Batman 89, the old Batmobile, coming in hot at number 5. All right, we've arrived at number 4, and I believe the number 4 vehicle selection in this top 5 list is the biggest vehicle that was released in 2023. You guys sound off in the comments down below if that isn't correct, and I know you will. But this one is the one I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship. It's almost one of those things, be careful what you ask for because you might get it. And that's kind of how I feel about this one a little bit. And if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year, where would this sit on a list like this? I'd say no doubt number 1. But it's still cool. It's just a little bit too much. Is that a thing? I don't know. But coming in at number 4, we're going to Super 7. We're going to the Thundercats. We're going to the Thundertank, of course, an iconic vehicle. We all know the Thundertank. A beautiful, beautiful piece of plastic right here, but it is so big. It takes up so much room. It's one of those things, like I said, you be careful what you ask for because, man, this is a big vehicle. It's a real estate killer. It is very cool. It's just absolutely massive. And then you add that cat's layer to it. Oh, my gosh. How many rooms you got in your house? You're going to need one for those two. There's no doubt about it. But very cool for what it is, just a very big piece of plastic that takes up a lot of real estate. But man, is it cool. Little Kyle way back in the day, if he saw something like this, the hours of playtime would just be crazy. I would never come up from my basement, just like now. I never really come up from my basement. So very, very cool, very iconic, a little controversial. I wasn't a big fan of the price drops on this one throughout the years and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it is still a cool piece of plastic. It is a cool vehicle. So the Thundertank coming in at number 4. We've arrived at the halfway point of the countdown. You got your list together. Make sure you put it in the comments down below. And of course, make sure you put it in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. But coming in at number 3 is another recent unboxing here on the channel. It comes from our good friends over there at NECA. It is part of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon line. It is the Turtle Van. Don't call it a party wagon. Call it a turtle van. And a very, very cool one right here. Very nostalgic, of course, from the cartoon series, and that's what this feels like, looks like it walked out of the cartoon. I like the extra attention to detail with the bells and whistles, and of course the light up stuff of putting the batteries in there. I think that is very cool for this one. Just a lot of fun, and it does really fit in very well with your NECA Cartoon Ninja Turtle here. It is interesting because it feels a little bit smaller, and that is, of course, combining it or pairing it up next to maybe a party wagon. Maybe that'll be on the list. We'll see. But an interesting one, no doubt about it. But a very cool one from NECA this year. One that took forever, but we did finally get it here in 2023. It is the NECA Party Van. Arrived at the number 2 spot in our top 5 action figure vehicles of 2023, and there's no hiding number 2 away. It's just too big. What do we got here? Well, it is the Super 7 Ultimates Turtles Party Wagon. Now, this is a very, very cool one, and this one ekes out the NECA one because when I think of the Party Wagon, I go back to the Playmates days, and that's what this is, but supersized. And this is large and in charge. Beautiful coloring. Shout out to Terry Steinbach and the '89 Oakland A's. Beautiful coloring on this one, all kinds of accessories, a lot of bells and whistles, but with that comes a very expensive price tag and a very long wait. I think it was almost a 2-year wait for this one, so a lot to be said about this one, the waiting game, the price point, but once you get it open, once you get it here, once you check it out, man, it is a nice piece of plastic. There's no doubt about it. So a very fun one here from Super 7. Well worth the wait at the end of the day. And the Party Wagon comes in at number 2, which leaves only one left. I'm sure you guys can guess, but we will get into it. The number 1 action figure vehicle of 2023. We've arrived at the number 1 spot in my top 5 action figure vehicles of 2023. Once again, make sure you put your list in the comments down below. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and look out for all the other best of videos as we wind down 2023 and into early 2024. But without further ado, it's time for the number 1 spot, and it's been a year-long wait for this one. A lot of us on pins and needles how it was going to turn out, and I gotta say, at least for me, blew away my expectations, and my expectations were very high on this one. And of course, tons of accessories, tons of figures, tons of bells and whistles with the packaging, everything else around it. Still made this one absolutely amazing, even without all that stuff. And what are we talking about? We're talking about the G.I. Joe Classified HasLab 2023 Hiss Tank. Man, Cobra riding in style with this Hiss Tank. You got electronics in here, you got light up features, you got all the accessories and extra figures we talked about, but just when you get down to the core, the actual vehicle, absolutely amazing here. You could put figures underneath the gunner, you can put a figure in the gunner, you can have them hanging on the back, of course the pilot up front. There is so much room for figures, so much room for activities. Make your head spin at the end of the day. You get customizable options on this one with stickers and weapons. A lot of different ways you can take this, and a lot of people are buying multiples of these for their collection, and you can make them feel a little bit different, look a bit different, which I think is very, very cool. But like all these action figure vehicles on this top 5 list, once again, it is a space killer. Where are you going to put all this stuff? I'm still wondering that myself. I got to figure out where I'm going to home this Hiss Tank in my collection. It's a little too big for a shelf and a Billy bookcase. Got to figure that out very soon in the near future. But man, oh man, is this a cool one. Definitely deserve it of the top spot in my top 5 countdown. Have to imagine most people have this somewhere in the top 5. Probably most people at number 1 or number 2, but that's where you guys join in. Put your list together in the comments down below. Make sure you put them in order. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. And don't forget about the Patreon for early access to videos for both YouTube channels, plus tons of other bonus content. And best of all, you do support the channel and all the content it does bring. You can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. Don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram. So for the Hiss Tank and all the other vehicles of 2023, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.